Their appearance immediately set the internet on fire. The moment fans saw them, something changed. People didn't just react because they looked good, because let's be honest, Jungkook and Taehyung always look stunning. This time, the reaction was different, because it felt like they weren't simply showing up as themselves. They looked like characters. Jungkook appeared with a gaze so sharp and commanding that it instantly gave off the energy of someone who doesn't need to say a single word to control the entire room. His expression was calm, unreadable, almost intimidating. There was no need for dramatic movement or exaggerated styling. His presence alone carried weight. Then there was Taehyung, equally powerful, but in an entirely different way. If Jungkook looked like someone who could silence a room with one glance, Taehyung looked like the type of person who would quietly walk into the room and somehow make everyone more nervous without even trying. His aura wasn't loud. It was elegant, mysterious, unpredictable. And that is exactly why fans started saying, this is not just fashion. This is a concept. This isn't just an outfit. This feels like a whole story. That sentence started appearing everywhere. Fans quickly noticed that the way Jungkook and Taehyung carried themselves felt far too intentional to be random. It wasn't just about clothing, makeup, or styling. It was the way they stood, the way they looked into the camera, the way their energies clashed and blended at the same time. It all felt like part of a hidden narrative, and once fans sensed that, the theories began immediately. Some said they looked like the leads of a dark luxury film. Others said they gave off underworld prince energy. And many fans began obsessing over one specific phrase, Mafia aura and nerd aura. At first it sounds almost funny, but the more you think about it, the more genius it becomes. Because that contrast, that exact contrast, could become one of the most addictive concepts they have ever embodied. Jungkook, the kind of Mafia aura that feels untouchable. Let's be honest, Jungkook has always had that dangerous kind of cool. But this time, it felt stronger than ever. He didn't just look handsome. He looked like someone who had power. There was something about the way he carried himself that made fans immediately describe him as intimidating, sharp, commanding, and dangerously attractive. His body language felt controlled. His face gave away almost nothing. His eyes looked focused, unreadable, and almost too calm. And that's what makes a true Mafia aura so effective. It's not just about looking dark or serious. It's about looking like someone who doesn't need to prove anything, because everyone already knows who holds the power. That's exactly the kind of energy Jungkook gave off. He looked like the kind of character who never raises his voice, never wastes words, but somehow makes everyone obey anyway. And fans? They completely lost it. Because Jungkook's silent dominance is one of the strongest visual energies he can possibly bring. And this latest appearance made it impossible to ignore. Taehyung, mysterious, classy, and impossible to read. Then we have Taehyung. And honestly, he may be the most difficult person to define when it comes to aura, because his energy is never just one thing. He can look aristocratic, soft, strange, elegant, playful, eerie, and dangerous. Sometimes all at once. That's exactly what makes him so fascinating. While Jungkook's aura in this moment felt direct and commanding, Taehyung's felt layered. More subtle, more psychological. He didn't look like someone trying to intimidate anyone, and yet somehow he still did. Taehyung has that rare kind of presence where he can appear almost too calm, too graceful, too detached, and that calmness becomes the very thing that makes him unsettling in the most captivating way. He looked like the type of character who always knows more than he says. And because of that, fans instantly began imagining him as the perfect counterpart to Jungkook's darker energy. Not the same kind of power, but a different kind? And suddenly, that nerd aura theory started making a lot more sense. Why are fans calling IT nerd aura? Now, this is where things get really interesting. When fans say nerd aura, they are not insulting them at all. In fact, it's the opposite. Here, nerd aura refers to that charming, awkward, oddly lovable, unexpectedly quirky side that both Jungkook and Taehyung have shown many times over the years. Because yes, they can look like luxury fashion icons one moment, and then the next moment, they can act like two people laughing over the most random thing in the room. That contrast is exactly why people are so obsessed. Fans know that behind all the cold visuals and sharp styling, both Jungkook and Taehyung also have playful sides, awkward moments, unexpected humor, soft habits, and random behavior that makes them feel incredibly human. And that's why the theory has become so powerful. What if they're building a concept that combines both extremes? Imagine this: Jungkook as the cold, composed Mafia figure, but secretly carrying shy, unexpectedly soft, slightly awkward nerd-edgy beneath the surface. Or Taehyung as the mysterious, elegant, untouchable visual, but hiding a strange, unpredictable, charmingly odd personality that throws everything off balance. That combination wouldn't just be visually stunning, it would be storytelling gold. Could this be a teaser for something bigger? This is the part that has fans truly spiraling, because many people don't believe this was just a random cool moment. They believe this may have been a soft hint, a preview, a mood test, a subtle way of introducing an idea before revealing something bigger. Why? Because too many details feel connected. It's not only about their outfits or facial expressions. It's the complete atmosphere they created together. The contrast between them felt so specific that fans immediately began imagining a full concept around it. And honestly, that makes sense. Today's audiences don't just want good visuals. They want a storyline, a dynamic, emotional tension, and characters they can become obsessed with. That is exactly what this Mafia aura versus nerd aura theory provides. It gives people something to imagine, and once fans start imagining, they never stop. Fans are already building an entire drama in their heads. This might be one of the biggest reasons why this moment is spreading so fast. The second fans saw their chemistry in this darker, more cinematic energy, the storytelling began instantly. Some fans imagined Jungkook as the heir to a dangerous, high-level underground empire, a man raised in control, discipline, and emotional silence. Then enters Taehyung, not weak, not innocent, but completely unpredictable. Taehyung, in this imagined storyline, becomes the one person Jungkook cannot fully read. He may look elegant and calm, maybe even slightly nerdy in a unique and unusual way. But that exact unpredictability becomes his greatest weapon. And suddenly, the nerd aura is no longer something cute or small. It becomes powerful. Because in stories like this, the person who seems the least dangerous at first often becomes the one who changes everything. And fans absolutely love that idea. Their duality has always been their most dangerous weapon. The truth is, fans have always known that. Jungkook and Taehyung have one of the strongest visual dualities in the industry. They can be elegant and chaotic, masculine and soft, powerful and playful, luxurious and weird, intimidating and adorable. That duality is part of what makes them so magnetic. But recently, many fans feel like that duality is becoming more focused, more intentional, more refined. It doesn't feel random anymore. It feels like something that could easily be turned into a full-scale concept. And if that is really happening, then fans may be witnessing the beginning of one of the most iconic visual eras they've ever had. They have a kind of chemistry that doesn't need to try. There are many duos who look good together, but very few have what Jungkook and Taehyung have. Effortless chemistry. They do not need to constantly interact for people to notice something. They do not need dramatic gestures to create tension. Sometimes simply standing near each other is enough to make fans feel like there is a whole unspoken story unfolding. That's why this concept hits so hard, because visually they already fit the dynamic perfectly. One feels like danger, one feels like mystery, one feels emotionally guarded, one feels impossible to predict. Put that in one frame? That's not just a photo anymore. That's a movie poster waiting to happen.